Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. We are close to Christmas. This is the holiday season. I am Rodney Sinclair from Sinclair Real Estate Group. Thank you so much for being here with me this week. And I have a very, very special guest with me, Shahria Boston Kidd, attorney at law. Shahria, thank you so much for being with me today.
Hi, good morning, Rodney. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much. Listen, the reason why I say that I have a very special guest is because Shahria and I have known each other for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a practicing real estate agent for about 8 years now, and Shahria has been with me since day one. She is my go-to attorney at law, everything real estate. I get a problem, I got a question, I know I can call her. She is amazing. So I'm really excited to have you here today, Shahria. Thank you so much. How did you fit me into your schedule?
Yeah, I'm excited for this, Rodney. I'll always make time for you. I mean, think about it. I've had my law firm now for 10 years. So, we've kind of grown up together in this real estate business. So I'm excited in any way that I can support you. I'm here. And more than that, I love what I do. I love talking about real estate. So you invited me on to talk real estate. I couldn't pass up this opportunity.
Well, you are amazing at it. You are honestly, when I think about the type of people that I want to be involved with, I think about folks that are available, folks that are hungry for what they do, extremely knowledgeable. I call you and you get right in it. You roll your sleeves up, you get into it. I don't think I've had a question that I've asked you that you didn't have some sort of answer for me or been able to point me in the right direction. So that's truly, truly invaluable. And I really, really appreciate it. And honestly, one of the things that makes this important for me too is you are a woman of color. And it's important for me to show the people that I'm involved with, my clients, my community, that there are people like us out there, representatives of color, men and women that are doing these things that we talk about. It's not hard to find us. We're out there.
We're out here. We're out here, and then we're growing in numbers. That's for sure. I know a couple of Black female attorneys now in real estate, and years ago there were only just a couple. Maybe one or two here or there. So we're definitely growing. We're definitely here. Many successful people of color in real estate. I have some great mentors that are very successful in real estate, that are Black, that are people in color, that are here to build that generational wealth, and have something to leave for their family. So it's great to be around people like that. It makes you that much more hungry. Makes you see how much more work there is to do, because there is so much more work to do when it comes to our people, when it comes to real estate, when it comes to building generational wealth. So,
and you hit the nail on the head. You talk about generational wealth and real estate. For me and for you and for folks like us who have come up in this industry, understand how important it is and how great of a tool it is for helping us to build financial freedom, generational wealth, being able to have real property to be able to hand over to our children and continue that legacy. So listen, I don't have to tell you, but listen, let's get into it. I wanted to bring you on today because a lot of times I get the question from people, why do I need to have an attorney involved in a real estate transaction? I mean, especially with sites like Redfin, where you can now just go in and make an offer on a house, or sometimes people drive by homes and they just want to make an offer on a house. Why do they need an attorney? Why is it important?
You need the proper professional, not just an attorney, in any real estate transaction. You need a good real estate agent. You need a good real estate attorney. You need a good loan officer that has great products, and that will able to get your loan closing, get you to the closing table. You need a good home inspector so that you can become familiar with the house and really know this is the right investment for you. So all of those players are very important. Okay, they all play just the particular factors. They all have certain lanes in a real estate transaction.
Yeah.
And a real estate attorney is important because real estate attorney can really help guide you throughout every phase of a real estate transaction. A real estate attorney is important to review your contracts. When you get into a real estate transaction, you will sign 2 real estate contracts, okay, an offer and a purchase and sale agreement. They will all have terms that are unfamiliar to you unless you are a real estate professional. So it's important to have not only a great real estate attorney, but a good real estate agent that will help explain those things to you. So that's one particular reason that you should always engage a real estate attorney, first and foremost, to review your contracts.
I like that. You talk about just having real estate professionals on your team. I look at myself as a project manager. I'm not a salesperson by any means. Folks do not need me to find the house that they love per se. What I like to do is I say that I'm going to make this transaction happen for you. I'm going to bring the team to the table. I'm going to facilitate this process for you, making sure that you're not hit with things that you don't understand, timetables that you can't meet, things of that nature. So it is important to bring people who do this for a living onto your team, whether you're buying or selling. Now, you talk about, you said two contracts, contract to purchase and a purchase and sale agreement. Folks may not know what those are or what the differences are. Talk a little bit about those two contracts.
Okay. Well, in Massachusetts and just law generally, there's this law called the Statute of Fraud. Okay, and the Statute of Fraud states that any agreement to purchase real estate has to be in writing. Okay, so that's first and foremost. Any oral agreement to purchase real estate is not enforceable, unfortunately. So if the person that agreed to sell you a piece of property decides to go with another buyer and you only have an oral agreement to purchase real estate, unfortunately, you would not be able to enforce that contract and force that seller to sell you that property because of the statute of frauds. Statute of frauds says any agreement to purchase real estate must be in writing. And Massachusetts law goes further to state that the writing must contain certain elements in order for it to be a valid contract. So in order to have a valid contract to purchase real estate in Massachusetts, it has to be in writing. Okay, it has to describe what the property is. So the property address is usually sufficient. If you're buying a plot of land, you may use other terms to describe that plot of land, but there has to be a description of the property. There has to be a purchase price. So the parties have to agree on how much the buyer is willing to buy that house, and the seller has to agree to that price. Okay. And there, in addition, has to be a date of performance and or what they call a closing date, more commonly. Without a closing date or a time of performance, that contract will be null and void. Okay. And there's one last element too that's required in order to have a valid real estate contract. There has to be what they call consideration or deposit, no matter how little
How
or
much
how
you're going
much.
to pay for it.
Okay, it doesn't even, that's separate from what the purchase price is, but there has to be a deposit to bind the contract. If you do not leave any money with your contract, you do not have a binding contract to purchase real estate in Massachusetts. So those are the key elements that the offer to purchase and the contract that follows the purchase and sale agreement they have to contain at least those minimum requirements. So the offer to purchase comes first. Typically, when you find a piece of property, you'll complete a 2 or 3 page offer to purchase that will have the material terms of the transaction. It'll have the parties' names, of course, the property address, any appliances and personal property that you want left to remain as part of the sale. Of course, how long that offer to purchase is valid, the date by which a purchase and sale agreement must be signed, the date that you will close, if there are any additional contingencies. Okay, Rodney, we could talk about contingencies in a whole nother video.
I know. That's a whole nother meeting.
That's a whole nother agreement. Any contingencies that you want included, and the most common contingencies that we see would be if you're obtaining a mortgage, there'll be a mortgage contingency, a home inspection contingency, which you should always have your home inspection done, and there are other contingencies that we can also address, but numerous contingencies that you can include in that offer. Okay.
Yeah. And then that goes into, we get the contract to purchase, you do the home inspection, and then comes this other contract.
Yes, second contract and a second deposit as well. The real estate transaction
for consideration to make it binding.
You have to have consideration with both contracts to bind them. So that second agreement, so after you have your offer with the material terms and you have done some due diligence on the property, okay, making sure that person owns the property, as well as having your home inspection and other inspections done, you'll move forward with the purchase and sale agreement. And the purchase and sale agreement is a much lengthier contract that really goes in depth in outlining the parties' responsibilities, the contingencies, and the material terms of the purchase, and sometimes so not so material terms. While the offer may be 2 to 3 pages, the purchase and sale agreement is easily anywhere from 5 to 15 or 20 pages.
Easily, yeah.
If you have a good attorney like me, it's closer to the 15, 20 page mark. So, I mean, that's a major contract. Once the purchase and sale agreement is executed, the offer becomes null and void. So I always advise buyers to make sure that any terms that are in the offer, make sure they're carried into the purchase and sale agreement. That purchase and sale agreement becomes the controlling contract and controls the transaction once it's signed. So very important documents, very lengthy documents. These are legal contracts. I stress that to people. Once you put your deposit down, once you sign these contracts, you can't change your mind and then decide you don't want to buy that property. It is legally binding. If you do not adhere to the terms of the contract and breach the contract, there can be monetary penalties for doing so. If you're a buyer, if you're a seller, it could be monetary penalties or someone forcing you to sell your house. So it's important that you understand your obligations and you hire an attorney to explain those to you and to make sure that there are terms in the contract to protect your interests.
Yeah. And I like to have both of those contracts, whether it's a contract to purchase, I like to have that reviewed by an attorney prior to having my buyer submit that to the seller. You just want to make sure that, I'm a real estate agent, I know a lot of things, but I'm not an attorney. And so I tell this to my clients all the time. This is a legal document. You always want to make sure your attorney reviews this prior to submission. That way, we have the right language. We don't put something down that we think is important that's not, or vice versa. And especially if, you don't want to go into making such a large transaction like buying a home or selling your home without having an attorney review these documents. These are really important. It sounds like extremely important stuff, Shahria.
Extremely important stuff. And in a real estate transaction, ask questions. There's no question too small. Make sure you understand everything that you're signing. And if you are working with professionals that are not willing to answer your questions, you need to find someone else that will. It's really important because at the end of the day, you are the one that's ultimately responsible for making sure that your obligations are performed.
Well, listen, Shahria, this has been extremely helpful. I know this is helpful for the people in my community who are just wondering, who are new to this process, or who bought a home years and years ago and are getting back into it, whether they're selling it and just need a sort of refresher course. This is really important stuff. Shahria Boston, attorney at law, thank you so much. Listen, before we go, I want to ask you, talk to me a little bit about what you're thankful for. 2020 has been such a hard year on everybody, but we've made it through. We're here together. We're safe and healthy. What do you, as you think about going into 2021, what are you thinking about that you're grateful for?
I'm extremely grateful for. I always, the things that are always most important to me are family, health, and love. Okay, those are the 3 most important things to me. So I'm very grateful that my family, that they've all been healthy, that I've been able to maintain my health. I don't know if people know, but this real estate market has been crazy. And us closing attorneys, we're still doing closings in person. So I'm grateful that I have been able to be healthy throughout this time, and my family's been healthy, and that that I've been able to sustain, and we've had our best year yet this year in this real estate market. So I'm very grateful for that as well, because I know that there are others that haven't been so fortunate, and my family and us, I'm always giving back, trying to do as much pro bono as I can and help as many families as I can, whether it's through this eviction crisis. A lot of families can no longer afford to pay their mortgages. So we are here, and I'm just extremely grateful for what God has given me.
Well, I am grateful for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a resource to me over all these years. It has really been helpful. You've gotten me out of some tough situations, and you've just been a great friend. So Shahria Boston, attorney at law. I really wish you the best in 2021. Thank you so much. Yeah, if anybody's interested in talking with Shahria about your real estate needs, feel free to reach out to her at info@attorneybostonlaw.com. That's info@attorneybostonlaw.com. Shahria Boston, thank you so much for being with
Thanks,
me today.
Robin. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family.
Same to you. Same to you. Now, if you're interested in seeing other videos, feel free to hit the subscribe button and check us out. Sinclair Real Estate Group. Thank you so much for your support.